Bull beef is increasing in popularity due to the natural growth patterns of bulls and the economic return. Currently, in excess of 20% of animals slaughtered in Ireland are bulls.
I don't have bullocks this year because the economics of doing it doesn't stack up at the moment. These animals will be dead roughly 6 months, 5 to 6 months earlier as bulls than as steers. And they will die a heavier weight and a better quality carcass for the factory.
Two systems are emerging, finishing from the yard at 15 months with high levels of concentrate being fed, or finishing at 22 months with bulls out on grass for a second season. When bulls are outdoors for a second year, the risks of bulls attacking are increased.
Well, safety issues as far as I'm concerned on board is they can be outside till about August. They have to go in then. For safety reasons, they're big, the hormones are more active, and they're not thriving.
There are increased safety issues with bull beef, especially when the bulls are grazing outdoors. Paddocks must be fenced to a very high standard. Farmers need to be aware that these are maturing bulls and can attack at any time.
When you're herding bulls, in early spring, when they're only about a year old to 12 to 14 months old, there's not a problem herding them. But at all times you try and keep an exit, a safety exit in the field. In other words, you'd stay nearer to the electric fence wire, ditch, whatever is a boundary on the field, and keep the bulls away from you as such. So as if anything did go wrong, that you'd have a way going out.
Feeding bulls in sheds is generally a lower risk. Care must be increased where bulls are being bedded on straw. Do not enter the pen with the bulls. They should be released into a second holding yard until bedding has taken place. Farmers need to be extremely careful at feeding time and when moving bulls from field to field or to the yard. The other high-risk times are loading and unloading. Take care to set up properly and have all facilities in place.
You need stronger facilities than you'd be with normal cattle. Ironwork needs to be a lot stronger, and you need to have some sort of a flow in the system that the cattle will go in their own direction, and some way of guiding them around rather than thinking you'll force them into an area. You won't. Once a batch of bulls is put together, it's preferable not to mix any other cattle with them at any other stage. For instance, if you had 2 pens of bulls and you killed half out of each pen were taken away to the factory, and you wanted to put the 2 pens together, there's more likely than not, if you put them 2 lots of cattle together, you'd have casualties. They'd just fight and wouldn't settle down.
We try to avoid having 2 batches of bulls right beside each other, or a batch of bulls and calves. So we'd try and have them in separate paddocks if we can, paddocks not close by each other. If we have to put them into it, we'd have one group further up a paddock than the second one. As you can see here beside me, we've 2 groups. One is halfway up the plot, the other one is just here in the beginning of it, and they keep moving up on a daily basis. This bull behind me now, he's quite dangerous. He's only 16 months old and he's getting very aggressive at the minute. When going into a paddock with him, you'd always want to have a jeep or a tractor with you to herd him. When you have individual bulls like this, it might be the best thing to do with likes of him might be to kill him at 16 months of age. He's only coming to 16 months of age here now, so maybe you should cut your losses and kill him at this stage. If you have a number of them, probably should go into a shed where they're intensively fed for 80 or 100 days and kill them out of that.
No, bull beef is not for everyone. If you don't have a good setup and are willing to feed them properly, it won't work. Because you'll have an animal that should be finished and is not finished, and you won't have a proper fat cover or a proper meat structure on them. They're way more powerful than a steer, and their temperament is that bit higher as well. So when you link both of them together, if they go about escaping or doing anything, they'll just knock anything before them. They're way more powerful. I'm at this stage, I can get away from these if something goes wrong, or even when you're handling them as far as moving them or in the yard, you have to be that bit more agile. So for the older farmer, they're not an option as far as I'm concerned. For a man that is summer grazing or something like that, bull beef I don't think is an option.
With bull beef, always make sure that handlers are competent and agile. Have a farm vehicle available as a mobile sanctuary. Bulls require constant high levels of nutrition and should be moved to new paddocks regularly, preferably every 24 hours. Cull fractious and difficult bulls. Use extra strong facilities from your electric fencing to crushes and gates. Always keep the animals in the same groups, as mixing causes fighting and increased danger. Over half of the 23 people killed on Irish farms in the last 10 years were killed by bulls. Never trust a bull.